We all know MSI for making powerful gaming laptops and sleek, high-end business laptops, but now they're dabbling in the mid-ranges. Not all of us need a heavy, massive, bulky, expensive laptop. Some of us need a everyday carry-on that can handle office tasks and study tasks and a little bit of entertainment. I spent the last 2 weeks with this laptop, pulling it apart, using it for most of my office tasks, and I've got to say, just as a preface to this video, there's few things I could find wrong with the laptop. But there are a few things we need to consider if you're going to buy one of these. So let's dig into it. My name is Stefan from Tech. Hope you subscribe to this video if I give you some value. I'm spending the money and wasting it sometimes, so you don't have to. First things first, when you're looking at a laptop, you need to know, is it thick, bulky, and heavy? This isn't. It's not as they advertise on the website, ultra thin. However, it's not thick at all. I would actually probably say it's really normal. It's really comfortable to use and hold, fits into a laptop bag really easily because get this, the MSI Modern 14 is a 14-inch laptop. Now, something else that we really need to consider when looking at laptops, especially if we're going to be using them in offices or in coffee shops or when you're studying or even at school, is will this thing sound like a jet engine taking off next to me? Absolutely not, luckily. I pushed this laptop into the red 100% performance mode for, I think it was 3-4 hours in a row, and it barely got hot. The fan is really nice and soft and it does the job. Have a listen. And you know why it does the job? The reason this laptop makes so little noise is the fact that it has a processor unit in it that isn't the top of the line i7, i3, i9. They use a U version of the processor, which uses less power when it actually operates the laptop. So you get good performance, but you don't get all of the power drawing, which creates the heat, which makes the fan run hot, which makes it very loud. And that's what I like about a laptop like this. Almost a everyday use, very comfortable laptop. If you want to watch movies on your lap, it's not going to burn you. If you want to sit next to a friend in a coffee shop, it's not going to sound like you're trying to start up a tractor in public. Oh, rest in peace, old Windows laptops. There's a meme. It does come in 3 different versions. You can get an i3, an i5, and an i7. Now, what I would highly recommend you do when you're buying one of these is to prioritize the CPU you're buying. Rather spend a bit more money on the CPU going for an i7, for example, and getting a lower space, like a lower SSD or a lower RAM version. The reason I say this is because this laptop is upgradable. It has a few screws underneath that you unscrew, and all you then do is you swap out your SSD for something bigger and you swap up your RAM for a little bit more whenever you get some extra cash along the way. That's my top tip for the day, and I hope you take that to heart because you don't have to spend the money to buy the expensive version of the laptop just for more RAM or an SSD space. When you have more money, just buy it afterwards and insert it. Now, looking at the design of this laptop, the sleek, stylish, semi-thin, not ultra-thin design comes in 2 different colorways. We have platinum gray and we have urban silver. This is the platinum gray version, and I must say I really think I prefer it, as well as the logo. The logo is minimalized. It doesn't scream gamer. The laptop itself has a little bit of a matte finish, and unfortunately it does show scratches easily. So I would recommend that you buy a little sleeve for this one. Don't just raw dog it into your bag, otherwise you are gonna regret it. And when you open up the laptop, you have a very nice platinum gray finish on the base. The keyboard is black and the screen is black as well. Now, when I open up the laptop looking at the keyboard and the trackpad, we have 2 of the most important features we need to speak about when it comes to laptops. Most laptops, especially Windows laptops, we know have terrible trackpads. And when I mean terrible, almost unusable. After spending 2 weeks with this laptop, I can tell you that I rate the trackpad about a 7 out of 10. It's not perfect, it doesn't come close to a MacBook trackpad, however, it is very usable. It has 2 clickable zones at the bottom left and right, and you can double tap anywhere to click or double click with 2 fingers and scroll. It's very sensitive and reactive, and it's quite big. It has a very large footprint, which makes it very nice to use. Moving over to the keyboard itself really impressed me. Usually we have very clunky keyboards, plasticky keyboards. This one feels thick and solid, and hear this. Quite nice. It has a soft and elegant feel to it, which I really like. Unfortunately, it doesn't have RGB backlit, but it does have white backlit, which is a nice feature to add. Given it's a 14-inch laptop, they did take away the numpad, so we don't have that. And the layout had to be compromised on quite a bit, especially around the arrow keys. The page up and page down button just wasn't doing it for me. I kept on clicking on it, making mistakes, which annoyed me, but I got used to it. It took me about 3, maybe 4 days of wanting to smash my keyboard, and then I got used to it and it was fine. It's really not bad. The keyboard itself is really good. It's just the layout of 14-inch laptops in general becomes a little bit of a complicated thing on laptops. Now, this whole laptop is made out of plastic, so you would think that it's low quality built. However, it doesn't flex at all. It's really sturdy. And I had a look at where the hinges connect. They did everything in their power to make sure that the plastic would last as long as possible. As long as you don't drop it or like overextend it. Ooh, overextend it? Wait a minute. Why would they do this? Why would it be able to do that? Now, I'll tell you why. Imagine you're sitting across somebody, you're having a meeting at a coffee shop, or you're teaching somebody something. Well, MSI has this cool little niche feature, which if you flip it down, there's a little button that you can press and it switches over the screen so the person on the other side can have a look at what's going on your screen. It's a pretty cool little feature that they added. But back to the plastic. So yes, the laptop is made out of plastic, and that means that the durability of the device is a little bit sacrificed. However, I would say it is really sturdy and the quality is still there. There's a little bit of flex in the keyboard, but so little that I wouldn't give it a deal breaker. Now, speaking about deal breakers, this is something I really have to mention. If you're somebody that spends a lot of time using the webcam, I would recommend you upgrade the webcam. So get yourself a little external one. And here's why. So even in a very well-lit environment, as in I have lights all around me for recording this video, the webcam still pulls some amps, and the audio as well isn't something to write home about. So if you do spend a lot of time using your webcam, I would say just give it a little bit of an upgrade. There's also a nice little switch though that turns the camera off, a privacy switch, which I appreciate. Goodbye camera. Hello camera. And that's something that's cool for business use. You know you have your privacy when you have that switch on. Now, as I mentioned with the build quality of this device and the plasticness of it, they did not sacrifice ports at all, which I really appreciate. I don't know about you, but ports can bug the hell out of me. If a laptop doesn't have the ports it needs, Apple, then it becomes a problem and you always have to have a little dongle. So MSI knew that, and they knew we would be using a lot of ports, so they came through for us. You get 3 USB Type-A ports, which is a good amount for a laptop this size. They are all decently fast too, rated as USB 3.1 Gen 1. Which would give you around 5 gigabits per second of transfer speed. Another nice feature you don't always see on 14-inch laptops is an Ethernet port. You also get a full-size HDMI port and a combo headphone jack, which is really nice to see. You also get USB Type-C, which is pretty great. It is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port that not only supports display output for connecting an extra screen, but it also gives you power delivery, so you can top up your laptop on the go if you only have a Type-C charger with you, which is something really nice about the user-friendliness and the compatibility of this laptop to your lifestyle. Now, speaking about compatibility and extra screens and what, we always want to watch movies and have it part of our lifestyle in every different aspect of where we're going. So yes, we want to do work on it, and then the screen itself doesn't have to be really impressive. However, sometimes we want to watch movies or we want to play a little bit of Minecraft. The screen itself is a 60 Hertz display. It's an IPS panel, meaning that this panel itself has a very large viewing angle. So you can check it from any side and you still have a very good viewing angle. And 60 Hertz is a very decent refresh rate for a screen on a laptop like this one. It's not going to feel super slow, it's not going to feel super fast, it's just perfectly spaced out. Now, for the specifications of which you can order these laptops in, you can get them in up to 64 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. And yes, the RAM is upgradable, as I mentioned earlier, and it also comes with a PCIe Gen 4 NVMe slot, which means you can grab a nice little SSD and smack it into it. I would recommend starting off with a 512 gigabytes version just because you don't want to run into space problems within the first month or two of having this laptop. Now, as I mentioned, this laptop only has integrated graphics, Iris Xe graphics, so you might be able to play a few games, normal games, but nothing intense or really hardcore. But that's fine because this isn't a gaming laptop. This is a everyday usable laptop. And speaking about everyday things, how's the speakers on this bad boy? Have a listen. My personal opinion is it's normal. It does the job. It's not for surround sound, Dolby action, what. It's just standard speakers. 2-watt speakers does the job. Now, if I was in your shoes thinking about whether I'd buy this laptop or not, I'd consider the fact that this laptop has a SD card slot, which feels redundant, and I'd consider that this laptop is actually pretty damn good. It has about 7-8 hours of battery life. It's not heavy, it's 1.5 kilograms, it has a very nice and sleek design to it, the performance is good, can do all of your everyday tasks. It's pretty affordable. I'll leave some links down below for the versions I could find and the best buys I could find, as I always do, so you don't have to waste your money buying the wrong thing. And that really is it, other than the keyboard design that's a little bit wonky and the camera, pretty good buy. And on that note, I'm gonna say goodbye. This was Stefan from WeDoTech. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye. Please remember to like and subscribe if this video brought you some value.